Welcome to AnimeFan Narrations, Solo Leveling Episode 57.
Not bad. I'd say even 3 or 4 rank A hunters might struggle against you.
He acknowledged the demon's formidable abilities. Unfortunately for it, the opponent it faced today was far beyond its league. Without hesitation, Jinwoo reached out and gripped the demon's helmet with his left hand. The demon, clearly panicking, tried to pull away but was utterly powerless against Jinwoo's unrelenting strength. Intending to remove the helmet and finish the fight with a swift decapitation, Jinwoo tightened his grip further. As expected, the helmet came off with ease. Raising Baruka's dagger high, Jinwoo prepared to strike.
I surrender! I surrender!
Jinwoo paused, frowning.
A woman?
The face revealed beneath the helmet was unmistakably feminine. Ordinarily, Jinwoo wouldn't care about a monster's gender. But what caught his attention was the demon raising its hands high in the universal sign of surrender. This unexpected act of submission made it clear that he could communicate with it. To top it off, she dropped to the ground in a deep kowtow. For a moment, Jinwoo hesitated, unsure about driving his dagger into her just yet.
Please forgive me. We made a mistake. Please spare me.
She not only changed her stance in an instant, but was now pleading for her life? A monster begging for mercy?
Ha!
Jinwoo's face was a mixture of disbelief as he stared at the small, crouched form of the monster bowing deeply at his feet. While it wasn't unheard of for intelligent monsters to appear in standard dungeons, seeing one in these instant dungeons wasn't exactly surprising either. But this one was peculiar. Left momentarily at a loss for words, Jinwoo mulled over what to say. Finally, after some hesitation, he spoke.
You attacked my soldiers and now you're asking for forgiveness?
Oh, we have committed a grave mistake.
The Demon Aristocrat pressed her forehead against the ground and continued.
But our clan is responsible for guarding this place. We couldn't simply stand by while some mighty figure went on a demon slaughtering spree. Please, I beg for your mercy. I'll forever be indebted to you.
Well, when seen from their point of view, Jinwoo supposed their reaction wasn't entirely unreasonable. After all, he had barged in uninvited, cutting through their ranks like a blade through butter. With that in mind, Jinwoo decided to rephrase his question.
Are you really okay with begging for your life from the same person who killed your soldiers?
The knights exist to protect their lord. As long as I'm safe, they would consider it a success.
Jinwoo ran a hand through his hair, scratching his temple as he tried to process what he'd just heard. This left him even more at a loss than before.
Is she unbelievably naive or just shamelessly practical?
The Demon Aristocrat cautiously lifted her head, trying to gauge Jinwoo's reaction. Her panic only deepened, sensing that her situation was not improving. She bowed even lower, her voice growing more frantic.
If you spare my insignificant life, I'll give you anything you desire.
Jinwoo crossed his arms and placed his hands on his hips, considering her words. The Demon Aristocrat, despite being a formidable monster, was now defenseless. With her weapons gone, Jinwoo could end her life as effortlessly as drinking a glass of water.
So what am I supposed to do with her now?
Jinwoo found himself in a bit of a quandary. The question wasn't whether to let her go. He wasn't even considering that. The issue was figuring out if there was something more valuable he could gain than the experience points and potential loot he'd get from killing her. An idea finally came to him.
I want the entry permit.
Pardon me?
The Demon Aristocrat lifted her head, her face showing obvious confusion. Her appearance was entirely human-like, save for the sharp incisors that became visible when she spoke. Jinwoo, unfazed, asked plainly,
Can you get it for me?
When their eyes met, her already pale face grew even whiter. Without saying another word, she pressed her forehead back onto the ground.
Well, I guess monsters don't know what items like the entry permit are.
With that, Jinwoo concluded the negotiation. He reached into his inventory and retrieved Baruka's dagger. It didn't matter to him why monsters had intelligence, or why they could use it to beg for their lives. That wasn't going to stop him from claiming the experience points.
If a demon knight was worth 3,000 points, how much will she give me?
And who knew? Killing her might just drop the entry permit as well. But then...
I can give it to you.
What exactly are you offering?
The entry permit.
The demon lifted her head, beads of cold sweat forming as her gaze landed on the ominous dagger Jinwoo held.
You can give me the entry permit? Seriously?
The Demon Aristocrat nodded frantically.
It's kept under the protection of our clan. If you let me return safely, I'll deliver it to you.
So the demons were guarding the entry permit? Jinwoo rubbed his chin thoughtfully. He'd been on the 80th floor for a while now, and despite slaying countless demons, he hadn't come across the permit.
I assumed the drop rate had tanked on these higher floors or that a mid-boss was carrying it, but now...
If what she said about the demons hiding the permit was true, it would explain a lot. While Jinwoo remained silent, weighing his options, the Demon Aristocrat grew visibly more desperate and added another incentive.
I also know where the entry permits for the upper floors are located. If you guarantee the safety of my clan and me, I'll personally guide you to them.
Jinwoo's eyes glimmered with renewed interest. That was certainly a tempting offer. For someone determined to reach the top floor as quickly as possible, having a guide to locate each floor's entry permit was an undeniably appealing prospect. But then came the critical question.
Can I actually trust her?
Jinwoo crouched down, grasping her chin and tilting her face upward. Her panic was written all over her trembling features, but he didn't ease his grip. Fixing her with an unyielding stare, he unleashed his aura.
Intimidation.
You have activated skill, Intimidation.
An overwhelming, chilling pressure radiated from his gaze, suffocating and paralyzing. The Demon Aristocrat's lips quivered uncontrollably under its weight.
Can I trust you?
I swear I'm not lying.
Ever since Jinwoo gained the power of the system, he had adhered to one principle.
Fair exchange.
It didn't matter if the other party was a monster. His rules remained the same. If a monster upheld its side of the deal, he would honor his part as well.
All right.
Jinwoo withdrew his intimidation.
Deliver the entry permit and I'll leave without causing any more trouble.
Really?
Jinwoo gave a nod. Sure, forfeiting the experience points he could gain from defeating this demon and the others supposedly guarding the entry permit felt like a missed opportunity. But spending even more time searching for the permit himself seemed like an even bigger waste. He had already been stuck on the 80th floor for far longer than he'd intended. And if this demon decided to deceive him, well, he wouldn't mind that either. After all, it would give him an excuse to storm the demon's stronghold with full force.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
The Demon Aristocrat's expression lit up so dramatically that Jinwoo couldn't help but notice. Was she simply this transparent with her emotions? Or was she just a bit naive? Clicking his tongue inwardly, Jinwoo decided to ask her something that had been on his mind.
Before we proceed, though, what exactly are you?
Solo Leveling, Chapter 102.
I am Esil, firstborn of House Radiru. My clan is—
Not interested.
Jinwoo interrupted her mid-sentence. He had no desire to hear about the lineage or history of some monster family. What he was truly curious about was why monsters and these instant dungeons even existed in the first place. How could he phrase his question in a way that might get him a meaningful response? Actually, even if he didn't get a full explanation, a single clue or a hint would suffice. In the past, he'd tried asking the monsters in regular dungeons, but all he learned was that they only heard one command echoing in their heads: kill the humans.
If that's the case, are these creatures being given the same directive?
To compare these monsters with those in regular dungeons, Jinwoo decided to simplify his question.
Do you hear a voice telling you to kill humans?
I beg your pardon?
Esil looked up at him, her eyes filled with confusion. Since she was still kneeling in a deep bow, Jinwoo found himself having to stare down at her to continue the conversation, and it was starting to feel a bit awkward. Clicking his tongue lightly, Jinwoo grabbed Esil by the arm like she was a child and helped her to her feet. Once upright, he stared directly into her face. Startled by the unexpected contact, Esil's heart raced audibly, but Jinwoo paid it no mind. Rephrasing his question, he asked again.
Do you hear a voice, a whisper, telling you to kill humans?
Oh,
Esil paused, clearly contemplating her response before she finally spoke.
no. But we do hear another voice all the time.
Really? What does it tell you?
It instructs us to guard the place where we live.
Esil answered cautiously, carefully observing Jinwoo's expression as she spoke.
So the purpose of instant dungeon monsters is different from those in regular dungeons?
Monsters in regular dungeons existed solely to kill humans, while those in instant dungeons seemed tasked with protecting their territory. The difference in their objectives was striking.
Hold on.
Now that he thought about it, wasn't he more like a monster to these instant dungeon creatures? Esil still looked shaken, her face pale from enduring the full force of his intimidation skill. Seeing that, Jinwoo couldn't help but feel a small twinge of sympathy for her, just a very small one.
How long have you been hearing that voice?
Since the moment we first opened our eyes here.
Since they first opened their eyes here, huh?
That suggested that Esil and the others had memories of being somewhere else before arriving in this place. Whether those memories were genuine or not, they were deeply ingrained in her mind. Jinwoo pressed on with his questions.
All right, so where were you before you woke up here?
We were in the demon world. Then one day, we woke up and found ourselves trapped here. We were preparing for war.
What were you doing in the demon world before that happened? War?
Yes.
Did recalling those memories bring clarity to her? Esil's face was now devoid of the fear she had shown earlier while pleading for her life. Instead, it was etched with a somber resolve.
We were preparing for a war against an unimaginably powerful enemy, one so fearsome that it compelled all the demons scattered across the demon world to unite.
And then her words abruptly stopped. No, more accurately, Esil was still speaking. Her lips were moving, forming words, but Jinwoo couldn't hear a single sound coming from her. Instead, what he heard was the cold, mechanical voice of the system.
You have exceeded the allowed information threshold, therefore this conversation has been blocked. You have exceeded the allowed information threshold, therefore this conversation has been blocked. You have exceeded the allowed information threshold.
The same message repeated endlessly until Esil finished her explanation. Jinwoo's eyes narrowed with suspicion.
If you hadn't stepped in, I wouldn't have thought twice about it.
In fact, he might have dismissed Esil's story as just another fabricated backstory created by the system for the monsters in this dungeon. Level-ups, quests, penalties, instant dungeons, even the process of choosing a class, it all mirrored the mechanics of a video game.
Thanks for watching Solo Leveling on AnimeFan Narrations. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for updates. Share your thoughts in the comments. See you next time.